This is a review for the Shark Rocket series of cordless vacuums. There are 3 different versions of this cordless vacuum on the market. The Shark Rocket, just Rocket, is the base model and it is also the cheapest model. The Shark Rocket Pro adds a self-cleaning brush roll and a multiflex wand similar to the multiflex wand on the Shark Ion F80. The Shark Rocket Pet Pro also has a self-cleaning brush roll. It does not have a multiflex wand, though it does add a anti-allergen complete seal feature, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Note that we only tested the Shark Rocket and the Rocket Pet Pro for this review, but as we mentioned, the Rocket Pro is essentially a rocket with a self-cleaning brush roll and multiflex wand, and we got quite a bit of testing done with both of these features using other Shark cordless vacuums. So with that being said, let's move on to the review, and we'll start by looking at the vacuum's raw performance test results. Airflow on these vacuums is low for the price, especially for the Rocket Pet Pro. Both the Rocket and the Rocket Pet Pro were measured at an airflow of only 23 CFM on low. The Rocket was measured at 31 CFM on high, and the Rocket Pet Pro was measured at 29 CFM on high. These numbers were similar to that of the Shark Ion series vacuums. The Ion F80 was measured at 30 CFM and the Ion P50 was measured at 32 CFM. This is quite a bit lower than comparable Dysons. The V7 was measured at 37 CFM on high, the V8 at 40 CFM on high. Higher end Dysons were measured at even greater airflow. The V11 Torque Drive, for example, was measured at 51 CFM on high and 30 CFM on its medium setting. Moving on to suction, the measured suction for these vacuums is also low for the price, especially for the Pet Pro. The Rocket was measured at 50 inches of water lift. The Rocket Pet Pro was measured at only 44 inches of water lift. And this is quite a bit lower than the Shark Ion line of cordless vacuums. The F80 was measured at 84 inches, the P50 at 78 inches. Dysons also have higher suction. The V7 and V8 were both measured at 72 inches, the V11 at 120 inches. Moving on to filtration and sealing, the Rockets come equipped with both a standard pre- and post-motor filter. The pre-filter consists of 2 different pieces, a felt piece and a foam piece. The post-motor filter is a fabric-like filter for the Rocket and a proper HEPA filter for the Rocket Pet Pro. And this is where the anti-allergen complete seal feature comes into play for the Rocket Pet Pro. That really describes the fact that it comes equipped with that HEPA post-motor filter. Our filtration and sealing test clearly demonstrates the difference in performance between these 2 filter types. The Shark Rocket failed this test while the Rocket Pet Pro passed the test because it is equipped with that HEPA post-motor filter. Now, most of the other Sharks and Dysons that we've mentioned so far, they also passed our filtration and sealing test, just like the Rocket Pet Pro. Moving on to general carpet cleaning performance, the Shark Rockets did perform quite well in our carpet cleaning stress test, although they did have a little bit of trouble with the smallest and largest debris that we tested with. Their trouble with large debris was expected. Many of the cordless vacuums we tested couldn't pick up large debris very well either. Their trouble with smaller debris was a little bit more unique though. The Sharks specifically, including the Ion series, took slightly longer to clean up flour than most other cordless vacuums we tested, indicating that they don't pick up small debris like dust quite as well as the competition. To test pet hair pickup, we stomped pet hair into carpet, and none of the vacuums we tested, including the Rocket and the Rocket Pet Pro, had any trouble picking up pet hair in this test. We also tested how well these vacuums could pick up longer human hair, and we noticed that the Rocket Pet Pro's self-cleaning brush roll could pick up more hair than most other cordless vacuums we tested, but it couldn't pick up all of the hair, namely extra long hair, past the brush roll without tangling. It's also of note here that while most other cordless vacuums would have the hair distribute all over the brush roll during testing, the Pet Pro did bring all of the hair to the center of the roll, which made it much easier to remove, but it still couldn't pick all of that hair up into the dustbin. Moving on to deep cleaning performance, the Shark Rockets that we tested performed quite well in our deep cleaning carpet test. The Rocket pulled up 21 of 30 grams of debris on boost mode, and the Rocket Pet Pro picked up 22 of 30 grams of debris on boost mode. The Shark Ion series performed quite poorly in this test. The Ion F80 picked up only 15 grams in the same test, the P50 only 12 grams, and those were tested both at full boost in the same test. Cheaper Dysons like the V7 and the V8, they had test results similar to that of the Rockets. The V7 picked up 21 grams, the V8 22 grams. More expensive Dysons performed even better in the test. The V11 Torque Drive, for example, was tested to pick up 24 grams in the same test. Next, we have hard floor performance, and here the Shark rockets did not perform as well as they performed in the carpet testing. They picked up larger debris much better than most Dysons, but didn't pick up smaller debris like rice and sand as well. The much bigger issue, though, can be seen in our crevice test. Most of the Sharks that we tested performed quite poorly in this test. The Ion series vacuums were eventually able to pick up debris in the crevice. However, the Rocket series models couldn't pick up the debris at all, even with considerable effort, given considerable time. We simply couldn't pick the debris up out of the crevice with the Shark rockets that we tested. For comparison, Dysons had more trouble with larger debris like Cheerios in the regular stress test, but they performed much better in crevice testing. Dysons also give you the option of using a soft roller cleaner head, and that is something that is not available with the Shark Rocket series of cordless vacuums. When it comes to battery life and performance, the Shark Rockets do very well. Earlier, we talked about how they picked up 21 and 22 grams of debris in our deep clean test on boost mode, or high, if you will. But more importantly, at least as it relates to this current discussion, is how they performed on low. And on low or non-boost mode, the Rocket's performance doesn't decrease much. The Rocket picked up 19 grams on low, and the Rocket Pet Pro, it picked up 20 grams on low. These are still very good numbers, and they allow for much better battery life. The Rocket was tested to run for up to 31 minutes on low, and the Pet Pro for up to 19.5 minutes. This means that you can use the Shark Rocket at a very reasonable deep clean performance for a whopping 31 minutes. The Dyson V8, it picks up only 16 grams on low. This is a big enough difference compared to the 22 grams on high that you will always want to run it on high. And on high, it only gets 8.5 minutes of battery life. So you can see the difference there between the Rocket and the Dyson V8 as an example there. Shark Ion series vacuums have very poor deep clean performance, and so they generally do poorly in the category because of it, because we are not only taking battery life, but also performance into account in this category. The Pet Pro, the Shark Ion line also come with a swappable battery. You can buy an extra battery for the Pet Pro for around $80 to double your battery life if you want to. The Rocket, the V7 and V8, the Dysons there, they do not come with a swappable battery. The next category is ease of use, and both of the Shark Rockets we tested do feel a little bit heavy in the hand. The Rocket weighed in at 3.5 pounds, and the Pet Pro at 3.8 pounds in the hand. The INF80 also weighed in at 3.5 pounds like the Rocket. The P50 felt lighter in the hand at 2.6 pounds. The V7, V8, even the V10 are also lighter in the hand at 2.4 to 2.7 pounds, depending on the model there. The V11 is heavier at 4.1 pounds for the torque drive. Both the Rocket and the Rocket Pet Pro feature the exact same controls. There's a switch that turns a vacuum on and sets it to either a hard floor or carpet setting. There's also a trigger that activates boost mode. You do have to pull the trigger and keep it pulled to keep the vacuum in boost mode. And this trigger is definitely much more awkward to pull and much more difficult to keep pulled than the Dyson power trigger for comparison. So definitely something to take into account there. That is definitely a bit of a chore to keep the boost mode activated on the Shark Rocket series of cordless vacuums here. The Rockets have good dustbin size for cordless vacuums at their price points. The bins on these Rockets were measured to have a maximum capacity of 400 milliliters. The INF80 has a much smaller bin, measured at a maximum capacity of 300 milliliters. The Dyson V7 and V8, they also have a much smaller bin, measured at a maximum capacity of 300 milliliters. The Ion P50 has a very large bin. It was measured at 600 milliliters. The V11 Torque Drive was measured at 500 milliliters for comparison there. Like the Dysons, the Shark Rockets do not stand up on their own, though a multiflex wand is available for purchase separately. And if you install a multiflex wand on these vacuums, then they absolutely can stand up on their own, just like the Ion F80. Moving on to the versatility category, both Shark Rockets are below average multi-floor performers for two reasons. First, they don't offer very good hard floor performance. Remember their performance in the crevice test there especially. And secondly, there's no soft roller cleaner head available for purchase separately to improve performance on hard floors. Both of the Rockets that we purchase here also only come with two tools, a combo brush tool and a crevice tool. Although because they are Sharks, there are many tools available for purchase separately. The Rocket Pet Pro also gives you the option of buying an additional battery, as we spoke about earlier. Finally, we have the durability category. And here we can say that in our estimation, the Sharks are not quite as well made with as high of quality parts as similarly priced Dysons. But on the flip side, the Sharks do come with a much longer warranty, a 5-year warranty compared to only 2 years with the Dysons. Moving on to what we like and dislike about the Shark Rocket series of cordless vacuums. First, let's talk about what we like. We definitely like the battery life and performance of these cordless vacuums. We also like the deep clean and general carpet performance of both vacuums. They also offer good dustbin size for the price, and they also come with a long warranty, a 5-year warranty. Moving on to what we dislike, we definitely don't like the fact that both vacuums failed our crevice test. We also don't like the raw performance of these vacuums. Both of them have low airflow and low suction for the price, especially the Pet Pro. Not to mention the fact that the Rocket, the regular Rocket, failed our filtration and sealing test. Finally, something that we definitely don't like about these vacuums is that very uncomfortable boost trigger. Moving on to general recommendations, outside of deep clean performance, which is very important, the Shark Ion series vacuums did outperform the Shark Rocket series. If you're cleaning mostly hard floors, the Ion series is clearly the better option. And among those models, the Ion P50 is the best that we tested. If you're mostly cleaning carpets, we would go with a Rocket series model over an Ion series model for that deep clean performance though. Among the 3 Rockets that we mentioned at the beginning of this review, we would recommend only the Rocket Pet Pro simply because it was the only model that passed our filtration and sealing test. Now, if you are deciding between the Rocket Pet Pro and a Dyson, we would go with the Dyson. The V7 is often similarly priced to the Rocket Pet Pro, and it offers better raw performance, better carpet and hard floor cleaning performance. It's more versatile, and it offers better build quality and quality of materials. The only area where the V7 does not compare favorably to the Rocket Pet Pro is battery life and performance. We don't think that alone is a sufficient reason to go with the Rocket Pet Pro over the V7. All that being said, even the V7 is not currently the cordless vacuum we recommend as the best available option at this price point. That title of the best cordless vacuum at that price point, at least right now, belongs to a different vacuum. We do test new cordless vacuums all the time, so check the description of this video for all of our latest recommendations, as well as the cordless vacuum at that price point that we recommend at this time. And thank you very much for watching.